Welcome to Andoran Histories. In these short videos we'll be exploring the history of the lands that make up our wonderful nation and how this past influences us today. This episode is brought to you by Erin's Tannery, the finest leather straight from Arangil to your door. As this is our first episode, we'll be going back as far as we can, back to the age that followed the breaking of the world, an age commonly known as the 10 Nations era. Around this time, the chaos of the breaking began to recede, and new nations began to forge. To assure peace and to secure their borders, these nations signed the Compact of the 10 Nations. From legend and the rare surviving copies of the Compact, we know that two nations existed where Andor stands today: Coremanda and Manetheren. We'll start with Coremanda, and then move on to Manetheren in the next episode. Coremanda, as you can see from this map, was sandwiched between the Manetheren Drill in the west and the River Erenin in the east, with the River Kerry forming its southern border. Most national borders of this time were formed by geographical features such as rivers or mountains. Not a great deal is known about the Coremandan society or their culture, though it is possible that some channelers from the Age of Legends would still been alive, and some attempt to emulate pre-breaking society would have been made. The only solid information we have about the rulers of Coremanda comes from the Compact of the 10 Nations itself, where King Ludeman signed for Coremanda. Three major cities were known to have existed within Coremanda. The location of the capital, Shemael, has been lost, and the only reference to the city comes from Ogier texts stating that there was a waygate constructed within the city's boundaries. The rediscovery of Shemael would be an archaeologist's dream, but we warn you against trying to find the city using the ways. Do not go into the ways. The second city that we know of was Bream. The ruins of this ancient city can be found scattered throughout Bream Woods, giving some idea of its scale. Looking at these fascinating ruins, we can tell that most of the city would have been constructed by Ogier builders, indicating a much closer relationship between Ogiers and humans than exists today. The village of New Bream sits on what would have been the heart of the city, with the villagers occasionally finding Coremandian artifacts. If you're interested in seeing these ruins, then New Bream is the best place to go, with daily tours of nearby ruins or full expeditions into the heart of Bream Woods leaving every week. The third, and probably the most famous of the Coremandian cities, was High Caemlyn. This Ogier-built city now sits entirely under our current capital, with items of Coremandian era being found frequently during construction work. Aside from its location, nothing much is known of High Caemlyn. There are rumours that a waygate from the time sits somewhere within Caemlyn City today, though after many attempts to locate it have proven fruitless throughout the years, it is assumed it does not exist. The location of High Caemlyn has proven Coremanda's most tangible legacy. Its position between Tar Valon and the south has allowed subsequent nations, including Andor, to flourish. Our own dear Caemlyn continues to be a vibrant world city to this date. Why not come along and see what Coremanda's influence has done for the city today? Coremanda stood in peace for around 800 years, until the Trolloc Wars began in 1000 AB. After the fall of Amarel to the north, Coremanda was overrun and her cities destroyed, leaving little trace of the peaceful nation that once stood there. After 300 years of fighting, the Trolloc Wars came to an end, and new nations rose to fill the gap left by Coremanda. We'll be covering some of these in later episodes, when we look at some of the 3-year nations, including Aldashar, Cambarin, and Farashel. Thanks for watching. In our next episode, we'll be looking at Manetheren. I've been John Algem from Visit Andor. Hope to see you in Andor real soon.